साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Amrutanubhava chapter 8, Jnana Khandana, where the knowledge is being destroyed, that there is nothing called knowledge, and we are on verse OV number 12. We did that, I think.
We finished the 17 long time ago.
Maybe I'm on the wrong page.
17, we finished that. Not last week, we stopped last time. 17th halfway.
17th.
So with the halfway, we went and stopped halfway.
Anyway, now I've started here. It's okay. 17th, is it?
Yeah.
I started from here. Anyway, we are enjoying it. In the 12th verse it says, 12th verse, page 780, therefore where there is no ignorance, there is no knowledge also, thus the duality of relative perceptions and dualism has no meaning in the self. Where is duality? Only in the mind. Only in the mind. So where is the duality of these two opposites, knowledge and ignorance? In the mind. So in the previous chapter we had denied ignorance. Here the teacher is saying there is nothing called knowledge also because it is existing. The knowledge that we know. What is that? The thought knowledge. So this knowledge is only existing as in opposition or coexisting along with ignorance. So, and this we explained last week again, that aham vritti, the consciousness, the knowledge, is coexisting with idam vritti, the ignorance, inertness, matter, but both are matter only in the thought way, as thoughts. But I thought is called knowledge because it knows everything, and it's conscious, whereas the idam vritti is inert, isn't it? It cannot think for itself. It needs to be known by the aham vritti. So this, and we have seen, now if we take it as subject and object, subject cannot exist as subject without an object, isn't it? So if we take subject as the aham vritti, as the knowledge, it is existing only because we have got something to compare it with. If that is not there to compare, if ignorance is not there, then what is left? Aham vritti is left. Aham vritti has got no purpose if it has got nothing to interact with. And that very moment, the thought aspect of the aham vritti, the I thought, drops away, and the original I, the pure I, the I without a thought, which is your nature, that starts, that alone remains. And this was, thereafter the relative perceptions of gain, loss, importance versus non-importance, sukha versus dukkha, I versus you, all these get cancelled once and for all. Once and for all. All the duality, all the dualism, all the opposites, all the comparisons, all the opposites, they all stand cancelled once we come to our essential nature. Where are all these existing? Only in the mind. How the difference between jnanam and ajnanam disappeared is explained further. Ye hui tarhi jnana ajnane do hi si abhidhane artha cheni anane. Vilpavali. Superficially, the knowledge and ignorance seem to be different. Therefore, when I start speaking on them separately, both of them disappeared. Superficially, the two words jnana and ajnana sound as if they are two different words. It sounds that father and son are two different people, but actually both I am. Or, in other words, both of them are existing in their own absence. Same is the truth here. That both these words seem to be real, jnana and ajnana, but and have different meanings. Therefore, I thought to speak about them and analyze them separately as two independent topics. But when I started analyzing them, both of them disappeared. See, it becomes, this is our issue. Vedanta says Agyan leads to Kama and Kama leads to Karma. Huh? For ignorance leads to desires, desires lead to activity. So we start solving the activity. We start controlling the desires. And we become, oh, I controlled my desires. Now I've got no desires. Now I'm not running after anything in the world. But you're still caught. Why? You're still in the mind. You have not known the self. A few examples are given to explain this point. Jaisi dampatye paraspare toduni palati li shire palatu nahi te the sare do hi che zine. Just to have the experience of the other, a couple changed their heads. The result was that not only they did not have any experience, but they died. Huh? There was once a couple who was constantly arguing, so they decided to change their roles and they exchanged their heads. And what was the result? The moment they exchanged their heads, they died. In the same way, the eternal couple, Jnanam and Ajnanam, always exist together. When one tries to analyze Ajnanam first, hoping that after that is done, then the analysis of Jnanam can be taken up, they both disappear. The enquiry into the validity of ignorance itself negates the validity of knowledge. Same point was explained very beautifully in the Shiva Shakti Samavesh, in the first chapter of the Amrutanubhava. There is only one. Who is he? Paramashiva. There is only one. There are not two. And that Paramashiva then, as a phenomena, comes down as Shiva Shakti. This whole world is the Leela of this Shiva Shakti. And what is this? So, and that is, so what is this Leela? The play between Aham Vritti and Idam Vritti. Aham Vritti is always one, Idam Vritti is always many. Shiva is always one, Prakriti or Shakti becomes many. That was what told in the first chapter. And whenever, and why she is becoming many? No, to get attention of Shiva. Why? Because he is in meditation, he is not looking at her. So she wants his attention, so she becomes many. As she becomes many, Slowly, slowly, Shiva opens his eyes. When he looks at the entire the Shakti manifested as the whole creation, again he goes back into meditation. It's so beautiful. This eternal play is going on. But because this eternal play is going on, does not mean that Shiva has forgotten who he essentially is. That is why he is the Lord. Who is the Lord? Who supports the Prakriti, who supports the matter without losing himself. He remains independent, he remains free, yet he supports the manifestation of Prakriti, which is not other than himself. Just like you are supporting the father in you, the mother in you, the sister in you, the husband in you, the wife in you. If you get lost in it, then you have lost the plot in those roles. But if you remain the woman or the man, then you have not lost the plot. Then you can deal with everything, each relationship, whatever justice is, you will give justice to that without any partiality, isn't it? Same way. But this is all at the mental level. It has got, so when we come back to being the man, then all the roles are taken. Yes, they are the roles and we do it, but without getting caught up in them. We don't forget that we are the man. Similarly, Shiva, out of Shiva the Prakriti has come, the Shakti has come, it is his potentiality, but because now Shiva is expressing as Shiva, Paramashiva is now expressing as Shiva and Shakti, Shiva has not forgotten that he is the Param Shiva. That is the way. Will this phenomena stop? No. It will continue. But we must not get lost in it. The enquiry into the validity of ignorance itself negates the validity of knowledge, because what we know as knowledge is only another expression of that ignorance, nothing else. How meaningless this inquiry into jnanam and ajnanam is explained through another example. Ka pathi la vila hoye to dipuchi vaya jaye dithi andhare pahe taite chi vrtha. The lamp at the backside is not useful for the eyes. So also the eyes are useless if they have to see darkness. If the lighted lamp is not in front of the eyes but behind them, it has no meaning for the eyes. Similarly, if the eyes have to see the darkness, they have no meaning. In the same way, whether we want to establish the validity of ignorance or of knowledge, either way it is meaningless. They are only at the level of thoughts. Thought knowledge is not the ultimate knowledge. Then what is the ultimate knowledge? What is wisdom? If it is not at the level of thoughts, then what is wisdom? Being is wisdom. Being is wisdom. How jnanam and ajnanam have no meaning is said in the next few OVs. Tai se nipatun je nene te ajnana shabde bolize आता सर्व ही जेणे सुजे te ajnana kaise. In the same way, that which is utter non-knowing is called ignorance, but that by which everything is known, how can we call it ignorance? That which is utter non-knowing is called ignorance. But that by which everything is known, how can we call it ignorance? Why we are saying that? Why it is said that? Why we call it ignorance? Because thought knowledge is that only. That which is utter non-knowing is called ignorance, but that which is able to illumine everything, that pure consciousness, the pure self, how can that be called ignorance? Therefore, ignorance and knowledge are equally absent in the pure self. For this, understand, when does a thought arise in the mind? When does a thought arise in the mind? Hmm. Only when we forget our own essential nature, when we move away from ourselves, the thought arises. Now, go to the second level. Even if the thought is arising in your mind, do you know you are? Can the thought arise in the mind without the substratum? And who is the substratum? You are the substratum. In your light, that thought is recognized, isn't it? The thought of ignorance or the thought of knowledge or thought of the whatever, the aham vritti and idam vritti, both are thoughts in your mind. I thought and that thought, both are thoughts in your mind. Who is illuminating these thoughts? You only. In your presence, you know that the I thought appeared, and then that thought of I know this is my camera. This whole I know this is my, everything is thought. I thought and this camera thought. Both is recognized by me. It is illumined by me only, isn't it? So how can, the teacher is saying here, then how can this, the real me, ever be considered to be ignorant? It is not possible. Just because phenomena is appearing, take another way. Just because the phenomena of waves and the ornaments is appearing and disappearing, gold has not become less or more. Without gold, the ornaments cannot come. Without water, waves cannot come. Because waves have come or appeared in the waters, the water has not become less, and because the waves have merged back into the water has not become more. Water ever remains the same. So is us. We, as the Atma, as the presence, as the illuminator of every thought, remain the same, in spite of all thoughts coming and going. If thoughts are coming in huge numbers, we have not become less. If there are zero thoughts, we have not become more. Right? When we are talking right now, we are understanding it. But why do we act exactly the opposite when we take the role of waker, dreamer, deep sleeper? We lose the plot, isn't it? Why? Because we are not being the real us, the illuminator, the substratum. We have taken the role of waker. As a waker, so right now we are a waker. But in the waking, because this is the sattvic state, we brought ourselves back to the real us through this analysis. And suddenly the heads are nodding. Yes, I understand. But when we are out there in the interacting with the world, we lose this. And actually speaking, it is never lost. It is always there. Everything is happening only in your presence. Every thought is taking place only in your presence. Be that. If that be so, how do transactions go on in the world? Aise jnana ajnana ale, ajnana jnane gele, ye don hi vanzhaule, don hi zhali. In this way, the pure consciousness became mind, that is, knowledge, thought, or ignorance thought. This ignorance thought is negated by knowledge thought. Therefore, both these are null and void in the pure consciousness. What does this mean? Exactly. Paramashiva becoming Shiva and Shakti. Same way, pure consciousness expressing through the mind as I thought and that thought. When over obsession with that thought, then the focus is on that thought increases in number. When if you have to think, thinking is thought. So think about who is this I. When we think about the I and give it more importance, automatically that thought reduces in number and eventually dies away, which is called Savikalpa Samadhi or Nirvikalpa Samadhi. In Savikalpa Samadhi, who am I? You are thinking about I and all other thoughts have died away. But this I thought can survive only if there is something else to interact with. Now there is no that thought. So I thought also, the thought aspect of the I dies away and what remains is the real I. It's that simple. So in this way, the complete philosophy on which the thought of Atma Anubhav, Amruta Anubhav is based is explained on this OVE. In this way, the pure undifferentiated consciousness, the Sadvastu, the unmanifest pure self became manifest as the mind, as differentiated knowledge, because that is inherent potentiality. Will this phenomena stop? Will this appearance of the mind and disappearance of the mind stop? No. Every day, waking, dream, deep sleep. Waking and dream is the manifestation of the mind, and deep sleep is the dissolution of the waking and dream. So this phenomena will continue to go on. It will not stop. While this phenomena is going on, we have to recognize, be the one who we are, who is undisturbed by the phenomena, who is illuminating the phenomena, in whose presence this phenomena is going on. The ignorance thought is negated by the knowledge thought. So what is the ignorance thought? Idam vritti. The thought of an object is negated by the thought of the subject. What is the subjective thought? I thought, isn't it? In spite of the differentiation into subject-object, the pure consciousness does not suffer any division. I given that the pure consciousness does not suffer any division. I gave the example of the waters. Then we are given the example of this self also. This is the sport of jnanam and ajnanam. The consciousness expresses itself as knower known, knowledge versus non-knowledge. So the entire world is a sport, a leela, the vilasa, between knowledge and non-knowledge, the seer and the seen. Both are expressions of the same principle. The non-knowledge aspect is called upadana karan, or the material cause. The knowledge is called the efficient cause or nimitta karana. Thus, Paramatma is simultaneously both the material and the efficient cause. In other words, can the I thought and the that thought appear without the self, without the conscious principle? Without pure consciousness, so just like without the man, the father or the son cannot these two personalities that are coming out of this man, they cannot exist independently without the man, isn't it? Man has to be there in order for these two roles to be expressed. Similarly, this pure consciousness alone is expressing as the aham vritti and the idam vritti. The water alone is expressing as the ocean and the wave, but without becoming, without losing itself. So, before the waves and the ocean, water was 100%. After the appearance of the ocean and the waves, the water is still 100%. It has not become less, it has not become more. So also the gold. Before and after the appearance and the disappearance of the ornament, gold is still 100%. That is our nature. Even after the appearance of objectivity or the mind, the aham vritti and the idam vritti, or their disappearance, the self remains ever the same. And it is ever the same even right now. It is not, no, I'll think about this thought, it's a very interesting one afterward. No, right now. Come to cognize, come to be that consciousness. So, just like water itself is the ocean, water itself is the wave. Water itself is the ocean, water itself is the wave. Similarly, this pure self itself is the aham vritti and itself is the idam vritti. This pure self alone is expressing as the knowledge as well as the ignorance. Why is it expressing like that? Why can't it stop and then we'll be free of this confusion? It is its nature. It is the nature of the sun to emit light. Isn't it? You cannot stop the day and night coming on the earth. It will continue. Similarly, in the space of the mind, the thoughts of knowledge and ignorance, they'll continue. And here Swamiji says that these idam vrittis, they are the material and the aham vritti is the efficient. So when we say the Lord himself is the material cause of the whole creation and he is the efficient cause also. So he created the whole creation out of himself. This is what we say, isn't it? This is how he made it. So by taking the role of aham vritti, he became the efficient cause, and by taking the position of the idam vritti, he became the material cause. The whole world is nothing but a play between the aham vritti and the idam vritti. Which world? The world that you know. Everything that you know, how do you know it? By way of thought. And how do you know the whole world? Right now for me, you are the world, right? Everything, every object in this room is the world for me. This body is the world for me, isn't it? Anything that I know or I feel is separate from me is the world for me. And how do I know that that object, all those objects? Because I am, isn't it? So I become the efficient cause, everything else becomes the material cause. But both of them have come because are the expressions of the pure consciousness. When we take it in this way, then the entire clutch of the world, the power that the world has over us, that will get diluted. See? Thus, there is an unbroken continuity of life. There is no possibility of life being born out of non-existence. Individuality is born only when the sentiency starts to manifest as knowingness, which in turn expresses as knower and known. So, this one line which is told here, this can be caught every morning when we wake up. First, the knowingness comes that, what is the knowingness? I am. And then, I am the body, I am in the bed, I have to get up, I have to brush my teeth, I have to go to work. All that then starts. But first knowledge is, before you are in sleep you are totally ignorant. But the first knowingness, I am, and then the whole world begins. When the knowingness is absorbed in the pure consciousness, the individuality is withdrawn and all the problems of the individual get dissolved. Life without individuality is Paramatma. So when we do sadhana, this I am is being inquired into. Who am I? Instead of looking for answers in the outside world, how do we look answers in the outside world? By vipassana, I will come to myself. By pranayam, I will come to know myself. By studies of all scriptures, I'll come to know myself. We keep postponing it. Scriptures are going to tell you which, no doubt, it is necessary. But a simple thing, all you have to, once you have studied, once you have come to know, don't keep studying again and again and again. It will become convinced in the first take itself that all answers and all problems to the problem, solutions to the problem lie in knowing the self. That's it. Get focused. Be that. So when this I thought is absorbed in the self, so right now what is taking place? Even right now, the I thought is interacting with that thought, so word after words are coming. Ideas are being presented. We are using this book, it's an object. The I thought is interacting with this book. The I thought is interacting with you all. The I thought is interacting with this body. What is being told? When the I thought gets absorbed in its original self, into its source, meaning the thought aspect is dropped because now the I thought is not interested in anything else. Total vairagya. Then all the problems of the individual get dissolved in one go, not step by step. In one go. And this is dropping of the individuality, dissolution of the individuality brings about the advent of, not brings about, what remains after the dissolution is nothing but Paramatma. From this, the principles of sadhana technique follows. What is the sadhana? When Bhagavan Krishna says Sarva Dharman Parityajya in Bhagavad Gita, it means, O waker, go back to your source, the substratum, which is supporting all the wakers in all the waking planes of consciousness. Reject all the dharmas of the waker, the waking world and the waking experience. Then where is the question of Vishnu Sahasranam, Shiva Sahasranam, Navaratri, festivals, I have to do my duties, my responsibilities, why all that thought comes to our mind and creates guilt? Because we have taken this waking plane of consciousness to be a real one. We are not keeping that disposition that the waking is as real as the dream, meaning it is only an ephemeral it is not the reality. We don't go back into the dream and try to solve the unsolved situations. Then why in the waking we are coming back again and again and trying to solve the situations of the waking plane? Because we have become obsessed with the waking plane. And it is natural for the mind. It wants to be sattvic. It loves purity. It loves quietness. In dream, it is rajasic. It's too fast. Everything is happening very fast. So this waking plane is the sattvic state. The automatic attachment to it. But this attachment has to be attacked at the root. And this is the way to do it. We reject the world by accepting the Dvandvatmaka nature, that is, we accept the pairs of opposites as inevitable and do not complain about it. It is accepted the way it is. So also the waking experience and the wakers are rejected as constantly changing factors. Therefore, there is nothing to be serious about. So if sleep comes sleep, waking comes wake, dream comes dream. But don't take them to be real. The aham vritti and the idam vrittis will keep coming. But never forget that they are not the real ones. I am the real. Father, mother, daughter, sister, they are not the real. They are only roles appearing out of, they are roles superimposed on me. Because this I has identified with that, it has taken on a role called father, mother, daughter, brother, etc. But I am the one who is illuminating both. And this is only, like we told in the meditation, what was tapasya? Not getting disturbed by anything that the world is throwing at us. And what was swadhyay? Maintaining the peace of mind. Again, same thing is coming here. Don't give too much importance to anything in this world. Not just this waking world. When we say the word waking, dream and deep sleep. Accept it as it is. Don't run after them. It is, the world is accepted the way it is. So also the waking experiences and the wakers are rejected as constantly changing factors. Therefore, there is nothing to be serious about it. Having thus rejected the total waking plane of consciousness, Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita chapter 18 says, Mam ekam sharanam vraja, the last verse in the 18th chapter, Mam ekam sharanam vraja, meaning surrender to me, Mam ekam, to me, because Krishna knows that he is the ultimate, infinite, uncaused reality. And where does he say? Because he is saying that is not an arrogant statement. He says, I am in everyone's heart. This is what I took as meditation today. He is in everyone's heart. So, he is the one. Till you don't realize that you are that one. See? So he says, surrender to that one, ekam, which is present in and through all the wakers and the waking experience and the waking world. To that one. Surrendering the individuality is the withdrawal of the knowingness consciously. See, knowingness necessarily concludes that there is something to know. That means something other than you to know. Then only knowingness will come about, isn't it? Aham vritti comes about only when there is something called idam vritti. Otherwise it will not come. And here, what is dharana, dhyan, samadhi? It is nothing but withdrawal of this knowingness back into its source. We are withdrawing this I, thought, from all the objective thoughts. We are taking, so this I thought was losing itself in all the objectivity. We are withdrawing it from the objectivity. And this I thinks it is the body. This I thinks it is the senses. This I thinks it is the mind. So therefore the sadhana comes, withdraw your senses, withdraw your mind, shama, dama, uparama. See how it is all connected now? So you are withdrawing the I from the objectivity, and as it keeps withdrawing, eventually there is nothing else to withdraw from. When it is not obsessed with any objective pursuit any object per se, then the I thought also doesn't have a reason to exist. This is what happens when you go to sleep every night. Every night your focus is on the sleep, and your the I that you are, the waker, it is withdrawing. Instead of withdrawing back into the self, it is thinking of sleep. And without any much effort, without any reaction inside you, everything in this world, it is getting withdrawn from. It is dropping away, or it gets dropped. Same thing here. This ajnanata is removed. Okay. Surrendering the individuality is the withdrawal of the knowingness consciously. We do this withdrawal unknowingly in deep sleep. Thus, from pure existence, one comes into relative existence, which is ignorance, where the knower known duality is taken as valid. This we have explained. This ajnana vritti, this thought of ignorance, is removed by the jnana vritti by vyatireka abhyas. By this abhyas, one transcends the impact of ignorance of or relative existence. Relative existence is dependency and consequent identification with that on which one depends, the gross body, the pranas, the mind, the Anandamaya Kosh, etc. Thus, Jnana Vritti slowly, step by step, negates all the limitations until, as the Vedanta Dindima says, one is able to discover, I am not even the Sakshi, I am not even the witness, or I am the supreme pure consciousness in whom this Sakshi is watching all his Leela, and then for no reason gets identified with limitations and becomes a Jiva. So, what is this dependency? As long as the I thought is giving importance to that thought and considers that without that thought I cannot exist, this is dependency. Without this body I cannot exist, this is dependency. Without eyes I cannot see, this is dependency. Without ears I cannot hear, it is dependency. What are you talking about? Without I cannot see? It is dependency. Try and see without eyes. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. You don't have to depend on the physical eyes. Surdas, he was blind, but he wrote so much poetry. Swamiji was telling me about one Mahatma, one Marwadi man. He was going blind. Marwadis are mainly business people. But as he was going blind, suddenly this thought that I must study Bhagavad Gita, it is important, it came. And he went to one Mahatma. He said, I want to study Bhagavad Gita, but I am losing my eyesight and very soon it will go away. I can't even read right now. That Mahatma said, if you really want to know what is in the Bhagavad Gita, you want to read Bhagavad Gita, you take the Bhagavad Gita. He gave him the Bhagavad Gita and he told him, do the sparsh, touch the words of the Bhagavad Gita with faith that they will come to you. And that gentleman, he did it for 7 years, verse by verse. He just went like this. He doesn't know what is written there. He can't read. All he did was just kept touching them every day. One chapter, whatever he did, I don't know what. 7 years he continued without losing faith. And after that time, you ask him any verse in Bhagavad Gita, he will chant and tell you the meaning. So do we need physical eyes? No. obsessed only with I am these senses and I am this mind and I am this body, then we are not available to higher possibilities, isn't it? And this is what it is, that the withdrawal of the I thought from all its obsessions. When this I thought withdraws from all its obsessions, it is called Sakshi. It is not attached to any one of them. Then this Sakshi also is an expression of the reality, the pure I. And when this Sakshi realizes that, hey, then who am I? I don't want to be saying all the time, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this. I am witnessing all this. But who am I really? Then he merges back. I am not even the Sakshi, I am the supreme pure consciousness in whom the Sakshi is watching all this Leela, and then for no reason gets identified with limitations and becomes a Jiva. The moment you identify with whatever is going on, at that very moment you precipitate as individuality. When you get disidentified, you evaporate and become the witness. When you identify, you precipitate. Both knowledge and ignorance are like a barren woman. Nothing is created, nothing is lost. Both knowledge and ignorance are like barren woman. Nothing is created, nothing is lost. But the story is written. Ram Leela, Krishna Leela, our Leela, our autobiography. Story of someone who is not there. That is our story. The pure consciousness becomes the mind, which is nothing but divided consciousness. Ignorant thought versus knowledge thought. Ignorance thought is expressed as parichinna. Ignorance thought is expressed as parichinnata and parokshata. These are negated by knowledge thoughts, which I am not a limited being, and Paramatma is not something other than my own essential nature. This is impressed again and again and again and again. Right now, I am the body is a natural disposition of me, the I. When this natural disposition that I am the body, some people don't even stop there. I am the mother, I am the wife, I am this. No. When your natural disposition and everything is reminding you that I am that Supreme Paramatma, I am that pure, immaculate self, I am that infinite one in whose presence this whole Leela of husband, wife, children, waking, dream, deep sleep, all this is going on, see the joy that will be there. This is an inquiry about the nature of Sakshi, and thus the Sakshi Bhava is also rejected. Therefore, both knowledge and ignorance thoughts are null and void in the pure self. This is the complete sadhana. The acme of this sadhana is that one begins to accept everyone as he or she is, without any desire to change anyone in the slightest. It is ultimate. This is how the Mahatmas live. Why do we love to go to Mahatmas? Because they don't judge you, they don't correct you. If you are not available, they will not correct, they will accept you as you are. Who are Mahatmas? Who never complain about themselves to others. But they listen to all complaints. But they will never complain about themselves, ever. Therefore, both knowledge and ignorance thoughts are null and void in the pure self. This is the complete sadhana. The acme of the sadhana is that one begins to accept everyone as he or she is, without any desire to change anyone in the slightest. This is the philosophy which saints like Uriya Baba of Vrindavana technique, which helps in the withdrawal from involvement in the world. Uriya Baba was the teacher of Akhandanandji Maharaj. You came to Akhandananda Ashram, no? In Vrindavan. Did you come to Vrindavan? Yeah. And at the back was that Uriya Baba Ashram. See? And in this way, okay, we conclude it. Give me another 10 minutes. The same pure consciousness is both the knower and the not knower. Ani zane tochi nene tochi zane, hata ke asane zine, jnana jnana. The knower indeed is the not knower, and the not knower is the knower. Therefore, where do the knowledge and the ignorance live? That is, the same pure consciousness is both. The one who knows, he alone is the not knower. Means what? The one who knows? The one who knows through thoughts is the not knower. He does not know. The same principle is performing as the knower at one time and as not knower at another time. See, this is where Atmiyata comes. This is where connection with the entire world as I comes. This is where when Shirdi Sai Baba say he gives the food to the dog, he feels satiated. Why? He considers, the Shirdi Sai Baba, that I thought also I am, that thought also is not other than the self that I am. But if I take a position that I am a Mahatma, this food is for me, that I am this body, then I will need something to nourish it, isn't it? But if I am considering myself to be that infinite I, then the I thought and that thought means the entire world is also an expression of this pure I that I am. And therefore empathy with the entire world. Accepting the entire world as it is. And in this way, the same principle is performing as the knower at one time and as not knower at another time. As a knower, the efficient cause; as not knower, the material cause. Thus, I is the common abode of both knowledge and ignorance. Other than this pure consciousness, nothing else is the reality. When they say, thus I is the common abode, this I that I am is supporting the I thought and the that thought. So this I is not the I thought that we are talking about. It is this one, pure consciousness. And it is supporting the I thought and the that thought. The theme of the chapter is thus concluded. Evam jnana jnane donhi poti suni ahani udaila chid gagani chidadityuha. In this way, the knower and known, or the knowledge and ignorance, are in the womb of the pure consciousness, as the day and night are in the womb of the sun. The former in the conscious space, while the latter in the gross space. Expanding the example, just as the day and night are contained within the womb of the sun, so also the Jnana and Ajnana are contained in the pure consciousness that I am. Here the pure consciousness is called Chit Aditya, the sun or sun of pure consciousness. In the womb of the sun, darkness and light exist together, either in mutual cancellation or in mutual existence. The moment they leave the sun, they separate. Again, understand one more thing. This day and night, from the sun's point of view, are non-existent. There's no. Sun does not know there is something called light and day, and sun does not know there is something called night. Yet supporting both. So it's a different take. You have to be very subtle in your thinking to understand this example. That both the day and night are existing in the sun in unmanifest form, but the moment they leave the sun, they start separating each other. So, you the wife, you the daughter, you the sister, all of them are within you, but the moment they come out of you, all of them become separate roles, isn't it? This body, when it was, take a seed is one, but when the potential in the seed starts separating from the seed, then the trunk and the root become separate, isn't it? All the multiplicity is in that one trunk, but that shoot becomes the branches, the leaves, the fruits, the flowers, all the separateness becomes manifest, but originally it was all one. But that example is only limited at that level, in pure, because it's a seed. But here the consciousness is that infinite seed, having infinite potentiality, having infinite options, and everything that leaves. So when we leave ourselves as the I, the pure, immediately we become the I thought and the that thought. And the Leela and the game begins. The game of the world begins. And this is what is told. In the same way, I, the mass of pure consciousness, Satchidananda Kanda, which itself is consciousness and which itself is the potentiality in the consciousness, contains its own being, both jnana and ajnana. The Chidaditya is the potential and Chid Gagana is the potentiality. Chid Akasha is the mass of solid space. Solid because it can accommodate everything, just as gold is solid space for all ornaments, past, present, and future, manifest and unmanifest, just as the ocean is solid space for the entire world of waves, born and unborn. Thus, this potential and potentiality are never two. This Shiva Shakti Aikyam is the thought with which Amrutanubhava started, and it is now echoed. Shardham Kena Cha Kshardham Shivayoho Samarupino. In the first shloka of this text, it was given. Who is with whom? The potentiality with the potentiality, or the potentiality with the potential, the Shakti with the Shaktiman, or the other way around. Both are one without a second. Don't consider the material, the world to be less. It must be given the equal respect, because it is also the expression of the self alone. As much as the consciousness, I thought, is an expression of the self that you are, that much that thought is also your expression of yourself. To say I am not the world, I am only the I thought, is the conclusion in Yoga Shastra. Vedanta takes you further. That not only I am, but this entire world also, not other than the self that I am. In this way, the 8th chapter takes us beyond the limitations of knowledge and thus invalidates knowledge and brings us to the abode where both knowledge and ignorance equally fall in the category of potentiality, which is not separate from the potential, our own essential nature. So this I thought and the that thought, both are the potentiality of the I. In other words, replace I thought with Shiva and the that thought with Shakti. Shiva and Shakti are both expressions of that Paramashiva. Never have got separated from it. Because that Paramashiva alone is expressing as both. So he is playing with himself. So is your experience. That you alone have become the I thought, you alone as the self alone has become the that thought. And wherever this interaction of the I thought and the that thought takes place, that space is called the mind. Where the Shiva Shakti, the game is going on, that is called the world, the total world. In this way, correct. Don't get so don't get deluded by experiences. All these experiences are only in the mind. Understand that you are that one who is supporting all the experiences, supporting all the knowledge, supporting all the ignorance. All this knowledge and ignorance is nothing but your expression alone. Then who will you run after knowledge or will you run after ignorance? Will you? It's just taking of the position. Which position are we taking? Thus, come to abide in your own essential nature. With this, we conclude the 8th chapter of the Amrutanubhava. Next week, we will see the summary, and then after that, we'll get Jivan Mukta Dasha Kathana. What is the state? Dasha is the state. What is the state of a realized master? Of a Jivan Mukta Purusha? And we are not talking about Jivan Mukta Purusha after death, while living. And here it is told, living the joy of liberation. So we will see that, I think. No, there's still few chapters.
2 chapters.
2 chapters. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.